Hello, parade watchers. It's time to talk about a Marvel superhero, which that is, of course, Spider-Man, for his appearances as a giant balloon in the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. Spider-Man made his parade debut in 1987 with Marvel as a sponsor. The design is a generic design. Nothing really special about this design.
In action. He's got spiderweb rays coming out of his hands. He can cling to tall buildings, and he's looking for Octopus, the Green Goblin. Spider-Man, you know, is just a wimpy little guy named Peter Parker. He was bitten by a spider, and that gave him all the strange and wonderful powers of the spider. Ever since then, he's been tracking down and fighting the forces of evil. I hope he doesn't mistake me for a kingpin. I don't weigh 400 pounds. I'm getting close. I do have hair sometimes. Spider-Man is furnished by Marvel Entertainment Group, and he's marvelous, just marvelous.
Rita Coolidge sings Higher and Higher. Jill Schultz skates with the Peanuts Gang, and the Woody Woodpecker balloon bobs down Broadway when our parade continues.
He'll continue on in 1988, 1989, and 1990.
This year, as we again, huh, Sandy? Yeah, we're going to look at the giant Spider-Man balloon, and we can see how we look to him, I hope. That's because he's wearing one of our NBC micro... There it is. Look at that. That's how we look to Spider-Man. So smile and wave, everybody. Hi.
Hi, Spider-Man.
That's how things look to him.
Those birds are courtesy of Alfred Hitchcock Productions. They're just extras. We had a few left over from last night's rehearsal. They're flying around. There's another shot. That's spectacular. Actually, we have a 2'6" NBC cameraman. Superheroes in the comics. Hey, that's one of the biggest production numbers in this show and a real crowd pleaser. And Melba, you better look up because I think your hero is following you, and he's got his spider cam trained on us right now. Spider-Man flies along with his comic book friends, all set to spring into action at the drop of a web. He's been dubbed the parade's official superhero balloon. Hey, I thought that was my title. Oh, well, today here, gone tomorrow. Escorted by 50 balloon handlers, Spider-Man is furnished by Marvel Comics and created by Stan Lee. Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker from Forest Hills, and he's done most of his crime fighting right here in and around New York. But that is a great shot, and that's coming from Spider-Man's tummy. Now, you can't beat that, Deborah.
That is really neat. Turn around and just look right here, because his hand is only about maybe 15 feet off the ground right next to us, and you can see how everybody really has to hold on to these ropes to keep Spider-Man from running off and fighting.
And who's that following them, Willard?
Fantastic. Here comes the star of the show for this hour. Weaving a web of adventure down Broadway is Spider-Man, our designated superhead hero balloon. This guy needs 9,522 cubic feet of helium just to stay afloat. And what's more, he's carrying an NBC camera and looking for action. The picture you are looking at right now is shot from the camera in Spider-Man. It's escorted by over 50 balloon handlers. Spider-Man is furnished by Marvel Comics. And there he is in all his glory, filling up your 600-foot screen.
I guess that's a spider's eye view of things here.
How do they get an engineer up to fix that thing if it goes bad? Here comes that wonder.
Then, in 1991, he continued in the parade again. This design of Spider-Man would continue on in 1992, 1993, and 1994.
Hey, if you're thinking that, you know, a hero is just a meatball sandwich, well, you're dead wrong. And here comes Spider-Man to prove it. Furnished by Marvel Comics and celebrating his 30th anniversary.
Looks pretty good for his age.
Thank you. Oh, you mean him. Spider-Man is America's favorite climber. I'll get that in a minute. And Macys' official superhero balloon. Check him out. He's armed, by the way, with an NBC camera right in his tummy, so he can get some great pictures for all you folks watching at home as he weaves his web of adventure down Broadway. So get him, Spider, baby.
How was that reading?
We will welcome Blossom's Jenna Von Oy, Cheech Marin, and the Woody Woodpecker balloon when our parade continues.
Oh, I'm on this guy here is so excited, Katie, to be in this parade. He is climbing the wall. And can he climb? And can we blame him? He caught a glimpse of Broadway Spider-Woman earlier. Look out, Sheeta. Furnished by Marvel Comics, Spider-Man has become the official superhero balloon of the Macys Parade.
And why not, Willard? This particular hero measures in at a super 78 feet long without his web.
And that's no itsy-bitsy spider. Happy Thanksgiving, big guys.
Santa's reindeer are preparing for a landing when the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade continues.
Guided along the parade route.
And let's show the folks, the balloon handlers, Macys volunteers, the muscle beneath the magic.
That's right, Willard. It takes a lot of muscle to handle Spider-Man. Marvel Comics presents a superhero for the 7th year in a row. Spider-Man is buff, Willard.
Spider-Man in the buff?
No, that's an expression for, well, well-defined, muscular, a hunk of burning love.
I gotta learn the language. I wish Kaplan's had sent some chicken soup over. Something else he can catch the criminals with his muscles. He can do it with his spider web, which measures 40 feet long by 36 feet wide. Make his matzo ball soup. He's in the dough.
Stay tuned for more of NBC's live coverage of the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. Bart Simpson takes us to the sky.
Then he would continue on in 1996 and 1995.
The news photographer who takes his responsibility very seriously like you and I do, except he works for the Daily Bugle instead of NBC, plus he can sling webs from his wrist, and I bet you can't do that, Willard.
No, we blow our own horn occasionally. We don't work with the bugle. That, of course, is something I cannot do, Katie. But he's been bitten by a radioactive spider, and those have been pretty much eliminated from Rockefeller Center, the last I heard. He could spin a web big enough, though, to catch a blimp.
That's because he is one big balloon. The Spider-Man character, by the way, was created in 1962 by Stan Lee and drawn by Steve Ditko. The Spider-Man balloon is furnished by Marvel Comics.
If you keep those long enough, they'll be collector's items. He's the longest balloon in the parade, longer than a Learjet, and a much smoother ride, I might add. In fact, a Learjet could ride him. He does look like he's just about to take off, doesn't he?
He sure does, Willard. And what's this I hear? From Georgia, the sounds of the Bainbridge High School Marching Bearcat Band, directed by Entertainment Group Incorporated.
And you know, the story, Katie, Spider-Man started really out as a college student, and he was a photographer, Peter Parker. But just a little bit of radiation activity, Spider-Man gave him the power to scale walls and sling webs from his wrists. And Spider-Man can get an awful lot of bad guys in that 40 by 36-foot web.
I'll say, Willard, I could see where a damsel in distress might be wowed by this pumped-up superhero. What a physique. Brrr. At 78 feet, he's also the longest balloon in this whole parade.
Oh, boy. He makes me want to hear a commercial like this.
Macys Day Parade when we return live here on NBC.
1997 was a bad year, but Spider-Man survived the parade route.
On Broadway is the parade's official superhero, Spider-Man.
The tall, well, usually tall, dark mystery man is furnished by Marvel Entertainment Group, Incorporated, on his 35th anniversary. Another milestone, the creative force behind Spider-Man, Stan Lee, turns 75 next month. So happy birthday, Stan.
25 more years in your mind, guy. You know the story, Katie. Peter Parker is a student and photographer who gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man and catches bad guys by sort of getting his web around from his wrist.
At 78 feet in length, Spider-Man is the longest balloon in the parade. He's the length of a Learjet and quite a hunk, I must say.
Right.
Actually, I'm feeling a little verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves.
Eat your chili, Katie.
John Tesh and the Broadway cast of Forever Tango. Next in Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade.
His final appearance was in 1998. For the parade's broadcast on NBC, when a balloon does not reach Herald Square, NBC either shows a test live footage since the balloon's debut, or show a previous year when the balloon was at Herald Square. For Spider-Man, the footage that was used for him was 1987 and 1996.
Unfortunately, before the parade, the Spider-Man balloon developed a technical problem, so we're going to show you Spider-Man on tape from a previous parade.
Spider-Man wasn't always a superhero. He started out as freelance photographer Peter Parker, who was bitten by a radioactive spider. Ouch! And as Spider-Man can sling a web from his wrist big enough to catch a blimp.
It's a good thing he's not a rock star, because it would take 3 stretched limos to chauffeur our hero to where the action is. Spider-Man's furnished by Marvel Comics.
Then in 2009, Spider-Man returned to the parade as an all-new balloon. This version of Spider-Man is him in his web leading position.
There he is, checking us out and crawling and climbing in the air above 34th Street is Peter Parker, better known as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We marvel at the sight of this 78-foot-long depiction of New York's own superhero, presented by Marvel Entertainment.
This web slinger is one of Marvel's flagship characters and most popular heroes. His timeless motto of, "With great power comes great responsibility," has been quoted by people around the world, even our president.
Spider-Man helped Marvel Entertainment celebrate its 70th anniversary this year and looks forward to many more, swinging his way through new adventures in comic books and digital comics.
He would continue in 2011, 2010, 2013, 2012, and 2014.
Superstar Spider-Man, a character beloved by kids and adults alike, Spidey has just crawled on to the Broadway stage.
That's right, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, an all-new theatrical show directed by Julie Taymor of Lion King fame, with music and lyrics by U2's Bono, and The Edge opens this Sunday.
Plus, Spider-Man will once again swing onto the big screen in July 2012 with a brand new installment, and for the first time ever, in 3D.
Now he's everywhere on Broadway in the hit musical, which you saw earlier. Now weaving his way through the web of skyscrapers. It's the Big Apple's greatest superhero, Spider-Man, presented by Marvel Entertainment. Audience of all ages can follow this acrobatic webmaster on the Marvel Comics app, as well as in his new animated TV series, Ultimate Spider-Man, debuting this spring.
And the world is actually awaiting the newest adventure of Peter Parker in the blockbuster Spider-Man movie franchise. The new one's called The Amazing Spider-Man, and it opens in 3D next July, FYI.
Those webs come right out at you. Okay, let's bring on the Big Apple float.
Gotta love Don McClane. Crawling above his 54 web handlers is the epic hero of New York City, Spider-Man. Marvel Entertainment presents his 78-foot-long cultural icon, beloved by kids and adults.
Spidey continues to enthrall fans across the globe through print and digital comic books, as well as the animated series Ultimate Spider-Man. The summer blockbuster The Amazing Spider-Man is now available on DVD.
All right.
78-foot-long Spider-Man feels quite comfortable crawling overhead. After all, New York is where he makes his web. If a radioactive spider hadn't bitten him, Peter Parker wouldn't have gained the speed, strength, and powers of a spider. And the world's greatest superhero wouldn't have entertained fans all across the globe through comic books and TV.
Good time to remind you, you can catch Sony Pictures' The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the big screen this summer.
And here he comes, literally a hometown hero, crawling through the air, ready to sling his web, is a parade favorite, one of the most recognized characters in the world, Spider-Man. Marvel has pumped up this New York City icon who lives by the words, with great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man remains one of the top-selling comics in the world, published in over 75 countries and 22 different languages. Look for Spidey spinning his webs in the hit animated series Marvel's Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors.
The South Dakota Department of Tourism.
After 2014, Spider-Man was retired. If you combine both versions, Spider-Man has made a total of 18 appearances in the parade's history.